and welcome to our second edition of Council Chat. This week we have Gerald Dawson with us. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
We really appreciate it. First of all, for those who don't know you, and you've been on council 16 years, I think we talked about. Tell us, what's your district and who do you serve?
I'm currently the representative of District 1, which encompasses the geographical area from Sheldon to the Cumbie River Bridge over in the Big Estate Jenkins area, and then on into the Burton area. So it's a pretty vast area.
It's a rather large area, rural as well. So some of the things affecting your community, and what we do on Council Chat is talk about what you want to talk about, what affects your community. One is the infrastructure, sidewalks, roads, such. What do you want to talk about with that?
Yeah, there's a need for sidewalks in our rural communities. Currently, we have a lot of citizens who are in the health and wellness fitness phase of life, and so sidewalks in the rural community, especially where the citizens and the residents are condensed. The sidewalks are greatly needed so that they don't have to walk in the highway or the roadway and have the challenge of being hit by a passing motorist. And so the sidewalks in those communities would allow the citizens to walk, exercise, and bike as well. And so that would afford them the opportunity for those three things to do it at their leisure and with comfortability.
Now I drive that way a lot, and I saw some bike paths were done during the 17 widening. Do you want to see those linked up with the Sheldon area, or what would you like to see happen?
Well, you're talking about the Spanish Moss Trail. Yeah, that's totally separate from the sidewalks that I'm referring to in the local communities. Yeah.
All right. Another issue that's been in the news and in front of council lately is the solid waste and recycling. Where would you like to see that go?
As far as solid waste and recycling goes, the Solid Waste and Recycling Board has presented a proposal of recommendations to the council, and in that proposal, they are recommending the closing of 6 community convenience centers. 2 of them happen to be in my district. That is the Big Estate Community Convenience Center and the Sheldon Convenience Center. And I held a community meeting in the Big Estate community, I think it might be about 2.5 weeks ago now, where David Wilhelm, the assistant administrator to the Solid Waste and Recycling Department, came out and made the presentation, and we had a good turnout from the community. The community had some good input and shared some concerns, and I think we walked away with an understanding that the community really valued the importance of having those convenience centers located locally in the community. Because one of the proposals coming from the Solid Waste and Recycling Board is that they close the Big Estate Center, and they recommend closing the Sheldon Center and keeping the Lobico Center open. Now, that means the folks in the Big Estate Jenkins area and the folks in the Sheldon area would have to drive from Sheldon to Lobico to dispose of their garbage. That could be, for some people in the Sheldon area, from the foremost part of Sheldon, that could be almost a 15-mile trip, round trip. That could be 15 miles. And I think that's asking a little much of our citizens to go to that extent to dispose of their garbage. I think that would incite some illegal dumping. I think Councilman Glover and I both shared the concerns that that recommendation wouldn't work well in our rural communities because it's so rural and so vast, and so those convenience center in the local communities is very vital to the citizens having access to readily drive maybe a mile or less and dump their garbage versus having to drive 6-7 miles up the road to the Lubico site to get rid of the garbage. One of the other recommendations that came from that from the Solid Waste and Recycling Board also was to perhaps consider curbside pickup. And even with curbside pickup, that will work well for some residents, but it would be advantageous and somewhat prohibited by inclement weather and some of the folks that live down the long dirt roads. During inclement weather, the trucks won't be able to get in and out of the road, and certainly to ask the residents to roll their garbage pail out to the main road that's going to be another hinder in the process of making curbside work. So while it would work for some, it would be advantageous for others. So we're in the early stage of discussing these alternatives. Like I said, I had one community meeting in the Big State area. I'm hoping to hold another in the Lubico area, the Dale Lubico area sometime after March. And the proposal is that we would have these discussions and share these proposals, and then hopefully the board, the solid waste board, and the staff would come to us with a final recommendation as to how to move forward with solid waste and recycling, and so that we would have a plan in place by January of 2021. So there's still a lot of work to be done yet.
Excellent. And so the public will still have chances to comment?
By all means. By all means.
Now, a rural area in the Sheldon area, and economic development is always something that people are interested in. Where do you see the area going? It only can grow north now. It's pretty much built out south.
We've done a pretty good job, I would think, with economic development over the last three and a half years. Council stood up the Economic Development Corporation, stood up that board. And so we have a board. Then after that, we hired a director, economic development director, John O'Toole. And in addition to that, we council also funded a line item in our budget for operations for the Economic Development Corporation and the director. And that line item affords them operating budget of about $500,000 annually. And with that, and I'll only speak of what's happening in my district. In my district, over the last year and a half, 2 years, the corporation, under the leadership of John O'Toole, they have brought in the Geismore Train company that's located in the Beaufort Commerce Park. Yeah, they deal with building locomotives and the tracks and the tools that work on them, things of that nature. In addition to that, also in the Commerce Park, they recently brought in a glass manufacturing company. And so in addition to that, several months now, the Blue Sky hemp processing plant is located down Highway 17, just before you get down Highway 21, just before you get to the overpass at 17. And so that's just 3 jobs that they've brought into the community in my district. And so the overall aspect of us moving forward economic development is not only involved in Beaufort County, but regional as well, working with Jasper County and Hardeeville and our regional partners to spur economic development for Beaufort County. Economic development is so vital because until we bring in some more industrial business, industrial, commercial businesses, commercial establishment, and light-scale industrial, then that will help to defer our tax base and lighten the burden on our citizen by the commercial establishment picking up some of the taxes and then affording our citizens lesser taxes. And so we still got a lot of work to do. My overriding concern with economic development is that in addition to that line item by the budget that I just mentioned, I think, this is my personal opinion, and I'm hoping that council will take me up on it, but I'm hoping that we prepare ourselves for a large ticket item where the Development Corporation under John O'Toole might present us with a prospect of a large company requiring a large investment on a large acreage of land. We need to be in a position, we need to position ourselves to be ready to move forward with that rather than being caught off guard and trying to scramble and figure out how we're going to fund it, how we're going to pay it, how we're going to make it happen. We need to be proactive and prepare for when it happens, not if it happens, but when it happens.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you. We're all out of time, but thank you for joining us on Council Chat today. We'll see you hopefully next year on Council Chat as well. We have someone every month and air it following the council meetings. So we'll see you next time, and we'll see you next time as well.
My pleasure.